Book of Ruth. In the time when the judges judged, there fell a dearth in the land. Wherefore a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went for to sojourn in the country of Moab with his wife and 2 sons. The name of the man was Elimelech, and his wife Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion, and they were Euphrates, out of Bethlehem, Judah. And when they came into the land of Moab, they continued there. And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she remained with her 2 sons, which took them wives of the nations of the Moabites, the one's name Orpah, and the other's Ruth. And when they had dwelled there about 10 years, Mahlon and Chilion died also, even both 2 of them, so that the wife was left desolate of her 2 sons and of her husband there too. Then she stood up with her daughters-in-law and returned from the country of Moab. For she had heard say, being in the country of Moab, how that the Lord hath visited his people and given them food. Wherefore she departed out of the place where she was, and her 2 daughters with her. And as they went by the way returning unto the land of Judah, Naomi said unto her 2 daughters-in-law, Go and return each of you unto your mother's house. The Lord deal as kindly with you as ye have dealt with the dead and with me. And the Lord give you that you may find rest either of you in the house of her husband. And so she kissed them. Then they cried and wept and said unto her, We will go with thee unto thy folk. But Naomi said, Turn again, my daughters. For what cause would you go with me? Think you that there be any more children in my bowels to be your husbands? Turn again, my daughters, and go. For I'm too old to have a husband. If said have hope, also if took a man this night. Yea, and though had already borne sons, would ye tarry after them till they were of age? Or would ye for them so long refrain from taking of husbands? Not so, my daughters, for it grieveth me much for your sakes that the hand of the Lord is gone out against me. Therewith they cried and wept again. Howbeit Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth abode still by her. Other, grant. Then she said, See, thy sister-in-law is gone back again unto her people and unto her God, return thou after her. But Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave thee, and to return from after thee, for whither thou goest will go, and where thou dwellest there will dwell. Thy people are my people, and thy God is my God. Where thou diest will die, and there will be buried. The Lord do so and so to me, except that death onely depart thee and me asunder. When she saw that she would needs go with her, she left speaking unto her. And so they went both together until they came to Bethlehem. And when they were come to Bethlehem, it was noised thorough all the city, and the women said, Is not this Naomi? But she said unto them, Call me not Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty hath made me very bitter. Went out full, but the Lord hath brought me home empty. Why should ye then call me Naomi, seeing the Lord hath humbled me, and the Almighty hath brought me unto adversity? And the time when Naomi with Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, returned out of the country of Moab and came to Bethlehem, was in the beginning of barley harvest. And Naomi had a kinsman of her husband's, a man of might, of the kindred of Elimelech, named Booz. And Ruth the Moabitess said unto Naomi, Let me go to the field and lease and gather ears after whomsoever find grace in his sight. And she said unto her, Go, my daughter. And she went and came and gathered after the harvestmen. And her chance was that part of the field pertained unto Booz, which was of the kindred of Elimelech. And behold, Booz came from Bethlehem, and said unto the harvestmen, The Lord be with you. And they answered him, The Lord bless thee. Then said Booz unto the young man that had the oversight of the harvestmen, Whose damsel is this? And the young man that was set to oversee the harvestmen answered and said, It is the Moabitish damsel that came with Naomi out of the country of Moab. And she said, Let me pray thee, lease and gather after the harvestmen the ears that remain. And so she came, and hath continued even from the morning unto now, and tarried not long in the house. Then said Booz unto Ruth, Hearest thou, my daughter? Go to no other field to gather, neither go from hence, but abide by my maidens. Thine eyes are on a field that shall be reaped. Go after the maidens therefore, for have charged the young men that they touch thee not. Moreover, when thou art athirst, go unto the vessels and drink of that which the lads have drawn. Then she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground, and said unto him, How is that have found grace in thine eyes, to know me, seeing am an alien? And Booz answered and said unto her, All is told me that thou hast done unto thy mother-in-law since the death of thine husband, how thou hast left thy father and thy mother and the land where thou wast born, and art come unto a nation which thou knewest not in time past. The Lord quite thy work, and a full reward be given thee of the Lord God of Israel, unto whom thou art come to trust under his wings. Then she said unto him, Let me find favour in thy sight, my lord, for thou hast comforted me, and hast spoken heartily unto thy maid, which yet cannot be like unto one of thy maids. And Booz, when the time of refection was come, said unto her, Come hither, and eat of the bread, and dip thy sop in the vinegar. And she sat down by the reapers, and he wrought her parched corn. And so she did eat, and was sufficed, and left part. And when she was risen up to gather, Booz said to the young men, saying, Let her gather the ears that remain, and do her no despite. And thereto pull out of the sheaves for her, and let it lie, that she may gather it up, and rebuke her not. And so she gathered until even, and then threshed that she had gathered, and it was upon an ephah of barley. And she took it up, and went to the city, and showed her mother-in-law what she had gathered. And thereto she plucked out, and gave to her that she had reserved, when she had eaten enough. Then said her mother-in-law unto her, Where gatheredst thou today? And where wroughtest thou? Blessed be he that knew thee. And she showed her mother-in-law with whom she had wrought, and said, The man's name with whom wrought today is Booz. Then said Naomi unto her daughter-in-law, Blessed be he, for he ceaseth not to do the same goodness to the dead that he did to the living. And Naomi said unto her, The man is nigh unto us, even of our next kin. And Ruth the Moabite said, He bade me also that should continue with his young men until they had ended all that harvest he hath. Then said Naomi unto Ruth her daughter-in-law, It is best, my daughter, that thou go out with his maidens, and that no man meet thee in any other field. And so she kept her by the maidens of Booz, to gather unto the end of barley harvest and of wheat harvest also, and dwelt with her mother-in-law. Then Naomi her mother-in-law said unto her, My daughter will seek rest for thee, that thou mayest be in better case. For now this Booz our kinsman, with whose maidens thou wast, winnoweth his barley tonight in the threshing floor. Wash thyself therefore, and anoint thee, and put thy raiment upon thee, and get thee to the threshing floor. But let not the man beware of thee until he have left eating and drinking. And when he goeth to sleep, mark the place where he layeth him down, and then go and lift up the clothes that are on his feet, and lay thee down, and so he shall tell thee what thou shalt do. And she answered her, All that thou biddest me will do. And so she went unto the floor, and did according to all that her mother-in-law bade her. And when Booz had eaten and drunken, and made him merry, he went and lay down by the side of the heap. And she came softly, and lifted up the clothes of his feet, and laid her down. And at midnight the man was afraid, and groped. And behold, a woman lay at his feet. Then he said, What art thou? And she answered, Am Ruth thine handmaid. Spread thy mantle over thine handmaid, for thou art the next of the kin. And then he said, Blessed be thou in the Lord, my daughter, for thou hast showed more goodness in the latter end than at the beginning, inasmuch as thou followedst not young men, whether they were poor or rich. And now, my daughter, fear not, will do to thee all that thou requirest. For all the gates of my people know that thou art a woman of virtue. And it is true that am of thy next kin. Howbeit, there is one nigher than tarry all night. And when morning is come, if he will marry thee, it is good, so let him do. But if he will not have thee, as sure as the Lord liveth will have thee, lie still until the morning. And so she lay at his feet until the morning. And she arose up before one could know another. And he said, Let no man beware that there came any woman unto the threshing floor. And he said, Bring thy mantle that thou hadst upon thee, and hold it up. And she held it up. And he met in 6 measures of barley, and laid it on her. And she gat her into the city. And she came into her mother-in-law, which said, What tidings, my daughter? And she told her all that the man had done to her. And said thereto, These 6 measures of barley gave he me, and said, Thou shalt not go empty unto thy mother-in-law. Then said she, My daughter, sit still until thou know how the matter will chance. For the man will not be in rest until he have finished the matter this same day. Then went Booz unto the gate, and sat him down there. And behold, the kinsman of which Booz spake came by, unto whom he said, Come and sit down here, and called him by his name. And he turned in and sat down. Then he took 10 men of the elders of the city, and said, Sit ye down here. And they sat down. Then he said unto the kinsman, Naomi, that is come again out of the country of Moab, will sell a parcel of land, which was our brother Elimelech's, and thought to do thee to wheat, and bid thee buy it before the inhabitants and elders of my people, if thou be disposed to challenge it. But, and if thou wilt not purchase it, then tell me that may wait it. For there is none to challenge it save thou, and next thee. And the other answered, Will purchase it. Then said Booz, What day thou buyest the field of the hand of Naomi, Thou must take also Ruth the Moabite, the wife of the dead, to stir up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. Then said the kinsman, Cannot purchase it for marrying of mine own inheritance. Take thou my right to thee, for cannot purchase it. Now this was the manner of old time in Israel concerning purchase and changing, for to establish all things, that a man must pluck off his shoe and give it his neighbour, and this was a witness in Israel. And the kinsman said to Booz, Buy it thou, and so drew off his shoe. Then said Booz unto the elders and unto all the people, Ye are witnesses this day, that have bought all that was Elimelech's, and all that was Chilion's and Mahalon's, of the hand of Nomi. And moreover Ruth the Moabite, the wife of Mahalon, do take unto me to wife to stir up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that his name be not put out from among his brethren, and from the gate of his city. Ye are witnesses this day. And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, We are witnesses. The Lord make the woman that is come into thine house like Rahel and Leah, which twain did build the house of Israel, that she may do virtuously in Ephrathah, and be famous in Bethlehem, and that thine house be like the house of Pharez, whom Thamar bare unto Judah, even of the seed which the Lord shall give thee of this young woman. And so Booz took Ruth, and she was his wife. And he went in unto her, and the Lord gave that she conceived and bare a son. And the women said unto Nomi, Blessed be the Lord, the which hath not left thee without an heir this day, that shall have a name in Israel, and that shall bring thy life again, and cherish thine old age. For thy daughter-in-law, which loveth thee, hath borne him that is better to thee than 7 sons. And Nomi took the child, and laid it in her lap, and became nurse unto it. And her neighbours gave it a name, saying, There is a child born to Nomi, and called it Obed. He is the father of Isai, the father of David. This is the generation of Pharez. Pharez begat Hezron. Hezron begat Ram. Ram begat Amminadab. Amminadab begat Nahasson. Nahasson begat Salmon. Salmon begat Booz. Booz begat Obed. Obed begat Isai. Isai begat David. Thus envieth Och of Ruth.